empty-handed painter from your street is drawing crazy patterns on your sheets. The sky too is moving under you, and it's all over now, baby blue. 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 Okay, so this song is the starting point for and inspiration for the card that we're doing today, which is the place where we belong. Now, I coloured the card in, and you'll see there's some nice golden stuff coming out of a circle here. This is the place where we belong, and this is our road along the Great Way to the place where we belong. And this is the works of coming out of the place where we belong, and those works I've written down: works, learning and teaching. We can do all of those things from the place where we belong. This is the place that we're meant to be in any moment of time, and it's really when we're led to the group. This is the group that we can be together with. And it's not possible to find a group where you belong through an email or through trying to find it. It's not possible for nature and God to allow you to find a group that way. You're always going to find some wrong group. To apply for a job, you cannot find a group that way. It's not possible to do it that way. And so there's always some bad element to the group, and in some circumstances there's an evil element to the group. It depends on the circumstances of your life and what point you're at. And if you're really beyond the point where you need to have left already and found a group where you belong, you're going to find yourself in amongst very bad people, and you will have fallen amongst thieves, as the old saying goes. Many people are in this world for what they can get out of it, not for how they can help their fellow man. And it's only those people who have obtained a position on the great chain of being, have entered the pathway to salvation, who can be brought together then at that point so that they can actually work together in a group. And you won't find that group except you go on the great way and let God take you to that group. And that's what this journey is here. And to enter this journey, one has to become the wanderer, all right? Now the wanderer is a hexagram of the I Ching, and this is how I came to find out about the place where we belong, both from studying the I Ching and then my own experiences associated with that. Okay, so I don't know how I'm going to find it. Normally I just open up the book and we find it. There's gradual progress. You can have gradual progress along the way towards a place where you belong. Oh, here's a wanderer. Okay. And you can also have the Marrying Maiden. The Marrying Maiden is also associated with the place where we belong, and that's something to consider. Okay, whatever the sequence of the hexagrams is an important thing to study, and the sequence, what we're talking about, where the place where we belong, we find this through a sequence of events. It's the end result of a sequence of events. So it says, whatever greatness may exhaust itself upon. So you're great and you're working in some bad place and you're exhausting yourself upon all these bad people. You're not going anywhere. You know, your ideas are being thrown away. People are conspiring against you. They don't want to make you the leader because you know more than they do, and so the only way they can get to the top is to push you down, right? And so whatever greatness may exhaust itself upon, this much is certain: it loses its home. It loses its home. You have to go. You have to leave that place. You have to go in and say, I'm finished, I'm out of here. It's all over now, Baby Blue, because you're going to lose your home. That's what this song, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, is about. It's about losing your home, leaving. Yeah, leaving. And it says, hence there follows the hexagram of the wanderer. And the wanderer is the person who has left the home and is now wandering on the great way, waiting to find out where God leads that person, and in the end it will lead to the place where that person belongs. And it says here, he who has few friends, this is a wanderer. So you can't have any friends, just got to be on your own. Yeah, if you have friends, they're going to be calling you off and sidetracking you. You have to have no friends. You just have to walk the way and find new friends, new people. Yeah. Leave your stepping stone behind, it will not follow you. Forget the chance you met, you know not, something. Your lover who just walked out that door, standing in the clothes that you once wore. Strike another match, girl, go start anew. And it's all over now, Baby Blue. Strike another match, girl, go start anew. Burn what you have, burn your past. Strike another match, go start anew. And it's all over now, Baby Blue. It's a great song. It's played by every garage band that ever came out in the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. Even now they play this song, yeah, because it's so important part of that journey of getting to the place where we belong. And the only way the Beatles and people like this found each other and formed a group was by walking the way. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards were buying records and going to town, wandering around, and they found themselves sitting next to each other on a train, you know. Oh, what are those records you got? Yeah, oh, that's that. I like that style. That's great. You know? And they'd start to become naturally brought together into a group, a natural organic group. And that's the only group that is viable. It can't be, I want to make a group, so I'll put an advertisement and say, needed drummer, bass player, keyboardist, yeah? Must have lots of experience. And PA system. You know what I mean? And so people take you on because you've got the PA system, you know, or you're the drummer and they can't do it without you. So they don't like you, but they'll use you. Notice that but. The but is a swear word. People don't realize that but is a swear word. Anybody says but, it's a terrible thing to say. You should say to somebody who says but, he says, look, you said but now, so can you just butt out of here and shut up? You're talking a lot of nonsense. Because but means this. This is the but. You give they give the people the but, you know. This is what the Maori people do. You know, give the people the but. It's a dirty word, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to take 5. I'm going to check the video, and I'm probably going to move over there. And then I'm going to talk about how I found the place where I belong, the story of that, so that you've got some idea of what might be necessary to do this properly, to find this place properly. Okay. Okay, well, we can find the place where we belong, and I said that we would have to do, we'd have to be on the way to do that. And one can also lose the place where we belong if we make mistakes on the way, because there's testing involved. And so I'm going to tell you a little story about how I lost my lovely lady that I was meant to be with after I completed my photography degree, my degree in photography. I was studying photography. I did 3-year course. Yeah, I did a 3-year course in photography, and at the end of it, I needed to go on a pilgrimage. I didn't know that what I was doing, because I was, I was young. I was in my 20s, my late 20s when I did it, and so I decided that I wanted to go to England, to visit England, and in that pilgrimage, I eventually ended up setting up a van, an ambulance actually, as a mobile darkroom and somewhere to live in, and travelling around making a whole exhibition of photographs that I eventually became a masterwork of that time of photography. Yeah. And one funny thing happened to me before I left, because this is what happens to all of you. Before you leave to go on your pilgrimage, if you haven't got a lady, you meet the one you're meant to be with, your future marrying maiden, if you know what I mean. And you probably kiss her, and you say, "Oh, I wish I could stay with you, but I've booked my ticket and I have to go on my mission, but I'll see you when I get back," or something like this. Okay. Now, if you're just a normal person who doesn't know anything about the stuff that I'm teaching you, you forget about that. Over time, 9 months later, you've forgotten her, yeah, because now you've gone, and you stopped writing to her, and now you're looking for some other lady because you can't wait. And nobody's told you that whenever you kiss a lady, that is the greatest thing you can possibly do in your whole life, because now you're going to get that lady. You just have to wait and do your pilgrimage, and you'll be led back to her on the Great Way, and the two of you will come together, and then you'll be a couple. Yeah, you won't be a divine couple completed the initiation, but you'll be on the start of the journey, walking together. First of all, you've got to prove that you can walk apart and come back together again. before God will say, okay, now I'll give you a chance. Right? And I know this is the way it works, because it's happened to me many times, and I've looked back over my life and I say, oh yeah, so that's what's going on, is it? And I went over to England. I met this beautiful lady, not Diane, it was, she's dead now. She died at a young age. In her 30s she died of breast cancer. And she probably wouldn't have died if I'd have been her partner and become her partner. She probably ended up with some bad man in the end. And it killed her in the end, because you can't help the dark side. You get cancer if you help the dark side. And if you partner with somebody who's the dark side and you're helping them, then you're probably going to get cancer, yeah. Like I did. So it's a big karma for me to have allowed this to happen, because it was my mistake. I went over and I met another lady, and I wanted to kiss her, and I did kiss her, and she wanted a partner. She wasn't in love with me. She wanted a partner because she didn't want to be by herself. And she'd had a lot of men running after her. She probably thought, well, this one will be a bit better than all those other bad bastards. So here we go. Can't find a better one. Can't find anything better. That's what it was. She didn't know that the man that she was supposed to be with was waiting for her back home. When she got home, she would have also had the partner, because she met him, and I could see that they fancied each other, but she was already with me, so she couldn't have him either. I hope I'm getting this across. It's a complex thing here. So I partnered together with this lady, Carol, her name was, and when it was time for me to go home, she wouldn't come with me. She wanted to go, no, I'm going to go traveling around with my friend, her girlfriend, yeah. And I'm going to go to Greece or something. And so she let me go home by myself, yeah. And when I got home, I went back to my parents' house. And my mother, my father was there, and I was just staying there like I had been doing when I was young. And I'd met, I can't remember her name. I can see her face and everything, but I can't remember her name. Isn't it funny? I'm not meant to. Normally when you can't remember somebody's name, it's because they're the devil himself. She was not the devil, that's for sure. I was the devil more than anything. If anybody was the devil, it was me. And she was just lovely. I keep on saying Diane, 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 but maybe she was another Diane, because I did the dirty on Diane. And this is another lady like Diane, who was supposed to be my partner in the world, to have my children and all that sort of thing, yeah. So I partnered up with this lady who was still in Europe, and I was back home with my parents in South Africa. And my mother comes, I'm in the bedroom, my mother comes, she says, Brian, because my name was Brian, and it says, Brian, I still can't remember the name, like Diane or whatever, is here, you know, she wants to see you. So this beautiful lady that I said, that I kissed and said we will be together, and had written letters to, and then stopped writing to, and drifted away from, she come to look for me. She must have heard that I'd come home, yeah. She came to look for me, and I had to tell her that I was with another lady. And as soon as I said that, I could see her face just dropped, and it was terrible for her, and we didn't have much to say, and then she left, yeah. It was a terrible, terrible thing. And the lady that I did partner with, I actually married her. She came to South Africa, and we were married in South Africa. We're divorced now. She gave me 28 years of hell. I got 28 years of hell on earth with that woman. She wasn't a lady, she was a woman. In exchange for doing the dirty on this lovely, lovely lady that I should have been partnered with. So I didn't find myself in the place where I belonged. I was taken out of there into another foreign land where she lived, okay? And I found myself in the place that I didn't really belong in, okay? But there's also a place that you can belong there. It's not as good a place, yet it's better than if you go running around looking for some place, okay? So when I left South Africa to go to foreign lands, I had the idea I wanted to buy a motorcycle and I wanted to tour the country together with my partner. And so I saved the money for this, and when I arrived in this foreign land, I purchased a motorcycle and she joined me, and we started a journey, went all around the country on this motorcycle. And we didn't know where we wanted to end up. We didn't know where we wanted to stay. We were looking for the place where we belonged. We became the wanderer as a couple. We became the wanderer. And so we went all over the country. We visited many different parts, thousands of miles. And one of the places that we'd been in was where her parents lived. And we thought, yeah, it's probably the best place actually. And so we decided we were going to live in the same town as her parents did. And so when we got back, we were staying in her parents' house. I then needed to start to look for work, look for a job. Okay. And what a person normally does is they look in the job adverts and things like that, but that's not what I did. I didn't go looking for something that was advertised. What I did was, I was an expert on Burroughs computers they were called at that time. I was an expert at that time. That was my forte. I knew their stuff inside out. And so I thought what I'll do is I'll find out who the biggest Burroughs people are. I've got the biggest computer, Burroughs computer, in this area, and then I'll just phone them and ask them. You know? So you see, I'm on the way. I can actually do this on the way. I'm not making an appointment. I'm not replying to an advert that's calling in for many people to come and compete one against the other for a job. No, I'm just going and asking. Yeah, do they want to talk about working together? Yeah, like you would if you had your own business and you were traveling around and you met people and then you conducted business just with whoever you met on the way. This is what it was like a bit. So I phoned the place up. I found out who the company was and who the guy was to contact there. And I phoned them up and I said, hey, look, I've just arrived here from a foreign country and I'm an expert. I'm a systems analyst. That's what I was. I was a systems analyst. So I'm a systems analyst and specialising in Burroughs and database systems. Their database system, DMS2 it was called. And I said, do you have any opportunities? Okay. Now it's funny because the guy I spoke to, he had been thinking about wanting to form his own business. Yeah. And they didn't know. There was him and one other guy who was working for this company. It was a meat company. And they said, but where are we going to get a systems analyst from? The other guy was a programmer. And we need a systems analyst to be able to do this. And so they hadn't actually started this business. We were just sort of toying with the idea. And so when I phoned, they said, he's a systems analyst. Just appears on the way, because they're on the way, I'm on the way. Yeah, they were on the pathway of salvation, both these guys, yeah. And so he said, yeah, come and see us. And I went to see them. I showed them my work. I had my work. I showed them what I'd done and spoke to them. He said, yeah, this is a really good idea. And so what they did was say, well, what we'll do is we'll give you some contract work at the meat company, if you like, just to keep you going. And then we'll make this new company. And the idea was to make a new company and then that company would look after the work for the meat company and other companies and become a bigger supplier of information services to the whole area. And they were called Information Management Services, which is exactly what they did. You know, it wasn't like a made up name or something, but it did become IMS, this sort of stuff, as it became a bit fallen, because it started off a very beautiful thing, and it turned into a bit of a nasty thing that I had to really leave. It was good in the beginning, yeah. But see, I said but. It was good in the beginning. There were a couple of people, one person in the beginning, it wasn't good, and that person corrupted the whole business. And that person was employed not because of what he was employed because of what his father was. His father was a very rich business tycoon in the area. And the temptations there to want to employ these people or have these people as part of your business so that you get the connections, to the money and all that. And the contracts that might be got from them. And so what I'm trying to say here is that I found the group of people where I was meant to be, the place where I belonged, in my material phase. It's a material thing, and so it was an opportunity to work without the bosses, without a boss. We were all equal, and it was just simply a matter of sharing what we knew. One guy, the main guy at the top, he was responsible for dealing with the inquiries and getting the work, and then he would just say to us, come and have a chat about this, let's see what we can do, and then he would involve you in the actual systems of it, and then you would just take it on, if you felt that it was what you were called to do. And nobody would tell you what to do, you just get on with it. And so it was really a free working on the great way type of a position, and those positions are rare. It's only because it's a small country that you can have these positions. This was the only information management services business in the whole region. So I found myself in the place where I belonged on my material journey. Yet there's a spiritual place where you belong, which is a much harder thing to find. Okay, it's going to take 5, and then I'll tell you about how I found that. Well, just like on the material journey, when you start on your spiritual journey, when you join the church of God, you give all your possessions away and you leave with nothing to go on the great way as a wanderer to find again the spiritual place where you belong. You meet a lady too. And you don't know about this until you lose her. It happened to me, yeah. I'm not going to tell you the details of it, but I did find out later on, many years later, when I had to meet this lady again, and just when I met her, realised that this was her, and that I could have had her, but I went running after other divine ladies on my couple journey, so I never got her. But I did get a beautiful lady in the end, of course. There's the one that you I could have had a much easier journey if I hadn't done that and I'd just gone back and partnered up with this lady and realised what was going on. But you see, I didn't realise what was going on, and so I didn't know you had to wait. I did not know that she was the lady that I was destined to be with. Because I hadn't learned these lessons, these laws that I'm here to teach you. I hadn't learned them yet. And I would never have learnt them except these experiences happened to me. And so it's perfect that I am where I am now. It's forced me to make a greater journey to bring these very difficult and hard to find teachings to humanity. Okay, now I just want to go over what the I Ching says about this, because the hexagram that we picked out in the beginning, I was actually looking for, there's one here, the gathering together. When creatures meet one another, they mass together. Hence there follows a hexagram of gathering together. Gathering together means massing. So when you come together with a group, you're gathering together. This is the process of what happens when you come to the place where you belong. Now, the Marrying Maiden is actually the place where you belong, because that's a divine couple. That's really what you're doing there. You're joining a group together with your new divine couple lady. You're joining together with a group. Yeah. And if you're not ready for the couple, you'll be joining together as a bachelor. Maybe you'll meet your lady in the group. Okay. And so the corruption about the Marrying Maiden is it's corrupt in the I Ching because it doesn't make sense. It says here, through progress one is sure to reach the place where one belongs, hence there follows the hexagram of the Marrying Maiden, which says that's great, it's place where you belong, through progress. Okay? Because progress is the previous hexagram. From massing together comes progress, enjoyment, progress, and then you come to this. So it says here the hexagram of the Marrying Maiden is based on the idea that the girl is marrying on her own initiative. Her character is not good. Well, you see, that's a false thing, because in China at this time the ladies were all owned by their parents, and they were basically sold into marriages, yeah, or into prostitution, or whatever they did with them. They were regarded as objects. And so a lady marrying on her own initiative, finding herself in the place she belonged with the right man, this was a big no-no, because she's probably already married at an early age to some old fella, yeah, who she doesn't love. And so you can see that if the I Ching reader got a woman, came to him and said, look, I've met somebody and I want to know what the I Ching on it, and they'll pull the card and pull out the Marrying Maiden card. If they said to them, oh, this is your divine partner, you're finding yourself in the place where you belong, they get their head chopped off by the old fella who owned her, who was her husband. And so they had to corrupt the teachings to the opposite of what they actually were. But because of it's an old book, there's old parts of it, the original meaning of it is still held in there. You just have to ignore the parts that are like that I just told you, okay? Because it says here, undertaking brings misfortune. It's not true, yeah. It's not true. The Marrying Maiden card is a fortunate card to have. It says the Marrying Maiden describes a great meaning of heaven and earth. If heaven and earth do not unite, all creatures fail to prosper. Okay, so it's only through heaven and earth uniting, the great mother and the father in heaven coming together as a divine couple, only in that way can the creatures in the universe prosper. Okay, so it's an absolute basis of all order and prosperity in the world. Okay. Now I want to try to find the Wanderer. Oh, here it is, the Wanderer. And the Wanderer is the journey here to the divine couple and the group where we belong. Okay. Now, a person has to leave to become the wanderer. And so it says, whatever greatness may exhaust itself upon, this much is it certain, it loses its home. Hence there follows the hexagram of the wanderer. Greatness may exhaust itself. Now, what happened to me when I went on my spiritual journey? I was studying and becoming great and wise in everything. I was studying. I wrote a computer program especially to study the I Ching. And I studied it for years, And my partner wouldn't work it. She was just like, she wasn't interested, yeah. And I exhausted myself on her, you know. You can spend, in the I Ching they're called pigs and fishes. These are difficult people, stupid people. And you're really not allowed to be with stupid people. When you get to a certain point on the journey, you have to leave. So whenever greatness may exhaust itself upon, whatever greatness may exhaust itself upon, this much is certain, it loses its home. Okay, so you're destined to lose your home in those circumstances when it doesn't work. And I had already left this business group of people that I was involved with because they also became stupid too, and I had to go out and work for myself in the end. And then I stopped working completely, and I just wandered around as a little monk in the world. He who has few friends, this is a wanderer. And it's true, you cannot have any friends as a wanderer. Everybody you have to treat the same and with respect, tremendous respect. If you have friends, they'll pull you off the pathway, they'll drag you away, they'll cause all sorts of problems for you. You have to be free of friends when you're the wanderer because you need to find new friends. New friends is what you're looking for. You're not looking for them, you're just being guided to them. Eventually they'll find you. Okay, that's enough about the I Ching. And it's a long journey, but eventually, after some 6 or 7 months of wandering, and it was then now summer in England, and I found myself not far from here actually, in a place called Leominster. It's very close to Bromyard. About 20 miles maybe, maybe less. And I was just wandering through Bromyard with my stick and my bag and my stick. That's all. I was just walking the way, and I got to a doorway, and I stopped. I just stopped, and I looked inside the door. It was the entrance to a very small pub, and the doorway and the pub the counter and everything was all very close. It was only tiny, like this room. And I looked into the eyes of a special looking man. And he looked at me and said, come in, because he immediately saw, oh, here's a guy wandering around with a bag and a stick. Yeah, come in. So, so I don't normally go to pubs, yet in this case, because I was invited in to meet this person, I did. I didn't have anything to drink, of course. I just chatted to this guy, and it turned out that he was a traveller also, and he was living in a traveller community called, doesn't come to me, I'm not meant to tell you. You'll find if you need to find it, you'll find it on the way, and this is a very hard place to find. And anyway, he said that there's the place there, people living in nature, they're in caravans, they're living in nature. There's no water, no electricity, it's natural. No toilets, stuff like that. Oh yeah, there were composting toilets. The first time they were the first composting toilets ever built in Britain. This place was the very first community of this type in Britain. And so he described how to get there, and I had nowhere to go, so I thought, okay, well, I'll walk by there that way. And so I walked to this place, and I got there pretty late, and I met some people over there. I must have met the guy from the pub too, who was to come back, and eventually it was dark, and I said, is there anywhere to sleep? And he said, well, there's a static over there nobody's using at the moment. It's open, just go sleep in there, yeah. And so I wandered over to the static. I'd never slept in a static before. It wasn't nice, actually. It's better to sleep just in nature. It was okay. It's cold there, our statics. And so I lay down with my sleeping bag and I went to sleep. And I woke up in the morning and somebody's opened the door and looking in at me and said, "Oh, who are you? Who are you?" Turns out this is the main person that you're supposed to meet. And so I said, "Oh, I'm Adam and I'm a priest. I'm just walking away." That's what I told her I was, as a priest. Yeah. And she said to me, "Oh, we need a priest here. That's exactly what we need here." you see how it's the same as a material journey. So I found a place that needed a priest because they had a lot of alcoholics there and stuff. And so I don't think she actually really knew what a priest was, but not a new age priest. She had a sort of traditional idea what a priest might do. It wasn't really what I did. And so I was offered the opportunity to join the community, and I lived there, and everybody else paid money to be there. Now, I was the only person who ever stayed there for nothing, because I really was what I was, and as a priest of God, you're not allowed to pay any money. The people have to look after you. And if they don't give you money to buy food, they have to give you food to eat and stuff like that. And that's what they used to do. They used to give me food to eat. And we used to go and find food. There was a lot of mushrooms you could pick up there and stuff and gather wild food. So we used to do that. And it was an interesting bunch on that community. Yet it was a stepping stone. And there comes a time when you need to leave that place because it becomes corrupted, and the people there have done the best they can do, and they've learnt the lessons that they can learn, and now they can no longer learn from you. It's time to move on. And generally what happens when it's time to move on from a place like that is you meet the devil himself. Okay? And in the community, in the traveller site where I was living, they were very big drinking people, and the devil himself is the biggest drinker of all. And he drinks and doesn't even get drunk. He's like completely capable of just drinking loads and being like eyes glowing like red demon. And I found myself sitting next to this guy one night, and he just turned them up to me. He said, "You have to go." He said, "You have to go." And I knew it was the devil himself, because he was completely, but didn't know, it was a demonic spirit taking him over, the devil himself from the angelic realms, demonic realms, saying, giving me the message, it's time to go. And the next day I packed my bags and I just left. And I had actually met some people who lived in a community called Mansell Gamage. It was a yurt making community, and this was again one of the original communities. These were the first people to bring yurts into Britain. Somebody came to Britain and taught them how to make Mongolian yurts, and so that was their mission, was to make yurts and spread that kind of alternative lifestyle, living outside the system, living without water, electricity, everything. Solar panels were the order of the day. That was the only thing we had, solar panels, just to charge the MP3 players, whatever. And we didn't have phones, nothing here. And so I made the pilgrimage to Mansell Gamage, and I arrived there without making any arrangement, no appointment. They didn't know I was coming. I arrived late, so I needed somewhere to stay. I said, can I stay? And the guy who owned the community said, "You can sleep in my yurt." And he actually took me, and I slept on the floor at the foot of his yurt. And I eventually ended up staying there. Yeah. And I didn't ask if I could stay there. I never said, "Can I stay here?" I could. I just did stay there. That's all I did. And I made a little place to live in the forest there, completely free, and started to be a high priest for their community. So I've been a priest at the other place, and now they moved me somewhere else as a high priest, okay? And so that's how it works, and you just get moved up, shifted up the line, and as one place goes down, you move on to another place. That's enough. I think you get the idea, and how you might move to the place where you belong. What you can't do is make appointments and go looking up stuff on the internet. I tried that, and whilst you have interesting experiences, you end up losing it in the end, because it's not the way. It has to happen on the actual way, walking, meeting somebody who has no appointment, meet somebody else who has no appointment, walking freely in the world. That's the only way you can find the place where you belong and the people you're meant to belong with, together with. Great Spirit says that's enough. So that's enough. I'm going to pick a card now for the next video. I'll just zoom in. Okay, we'll put this one away under the Guild Master, and we'll pick the other card, and we're going to do it by division. Divide the pack. Which hand moves? That one. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get this next video in your feed. That's how you get your lady, all right? That's how you get your lady. So this is, although it's a confirmation card at the end of this to show you this is a place where you belong, at home with your lady, okay? Or in the community, hopefully, that you and your lady live in. Like this little place here. Okay, it's quite appropriate, but I am going to, because I've zoomed in, I know I'm actually going to make an actual whole video about the lady. So we can look forward to that. Thanks for watching. That's my lady's candle. I better save it.